you end your hypnotherapy session? What do you do when you've finished doing the hypnosis part? This video is all about how to end your hypnotherapy session in a way that's effective for you. So what's the very first thing that you do after you've re-alerted them? The very first thing that we would suggest you do is smile. Now, you might be thinking, but this might be a very serious therapy session. There might have been tears, it might have been deep insight. If the very first thing that your client sees as they open their eyes is you going, "Are you okay? Oh, are you sure you're all right? Do you need a tissue? Oh gosh, you sure you're okay?" How are they going to be feeling? I know how I'd feel. I'd be feeling pretty rubbish. I'd be thinking, oh, what happened? That was probably traumatic. So what's really useful is to sit back, look confident, look in control, look in command, and smile and say, "Well done, good work." Because somebody, as soon as they re-alerts, they're still highly suggestible. It's thought between 15 and 30 seconds after they open their eyes. So whatever you say to them is going to have a big impact. Instead of looking concerned or even indifferent, look confident, look positive, and make use of that heightened suggestibility to give them yet another positive suggestion. So smile, say, "Well done, great work." And that's a really good start to the end of your hypnotherapy session. The very next step is to distract the client. Now, you might be thinking, well, but we're in a hypnotherapy session. It can be good to divert them away from the work that you've just done. Because sometimes work needs time to settle. And if you allow the client to start breaking down and analysing all of the work that you've done together, you can start pulling it apart, breaking up the different strands. They might turn around and say, "Well, I like the first bit of that metaphor, but I didn't agree with that second bit, and oh, I really didn't like that suggestion 10 minutes ago. And I don't think that'll work for me." And what can happen is, as they start to comment on the bits that they didn't like or didn't work, because the bits they liked they're not going to mention, what can happen is they'll actually leave the session with quite a negative mindset. So allow the work to do what it needs to do and to settle. A really good way, a polite way, a professional way, is to simply say to the client, the way this works best is if you allow the work to settle, perhaps keep a record of any thoughts or anything that you notice or observe, and what we'll do is we'll discuss it at the start of our next session. This validates the client's experience, yet it stops them engaging in that unpicking process. What you can do is to focus them on the supportive elements to the therapy, so the homework and the self-care tasks. Now, hopefully this is something that you've mentioned at the start of the session. You may even have reinforced during your hypnotherapy session. And then at the end, perhaps you write it down for them on a sheet or give them some additional information, just so that they know and they're able to remember exactly what they've agreed to do in between sessions. Now, it may be that you've already scheduled a series of appointments, and certainly clients, if they have 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, they tend to prefer that their appointments are on the same day, the same time. But if you haven't yet scheduled the next appointment, this is something else that you can do at the end of the session. Always make sure that you have your full diary with you so that you can do this. It helps keep the momentum. Now, another quick point. A lot of people often say, well, this is the point at which you take payment. If you're going to have the client paying on the day, I would suggest that you get payment out of the way right at the start of the session. But also, it could be even more effective from a therapeutic gain perspective to have the client pay in advance of the session. The least preferred method, in my view, is to have it at the end of the session, particularly if perhaps the client's brought a bank card that you don't recognise or conveniently forgot their payment. Get the payment either at the start or in advance. Now, before they leave, it is important to check that they are fully re-alerted. After you've used your re-alerting process, you've distracted them, you've had a chat about homework and self-care, the mere act of engaging and working in this cognitive processing, perhaps getting them to move, have a sip of water, having even a social chat about what they're going to have for dinner or what they're doing for the rest of their day, that will have helped them fully re-alert back into the present. If they still look a little bit dazed, they're not quite engaging with as much energy as normal, you may need to revisit your re-alerting process, maybe going through the re-alerting protocol once more, but with a lot more energy, maybe even standing up. Always ensure that your client is fully re-alerted before you say goodbye to them and they go about the rest of their day. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment box below. Thank you for watching.